The opinions of the host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. Howdy ho, everybody. Coming to you cordless from glamorous Minneapolis. It's Wednesday night, April 22nd, 2026. I am Jim Peters. Welcome to another edition of Jim Peters at Night. This is, believe it or not, show number 340. How the hell did we do that? 340 of them. Our guest tonight was supposed to be Mike Arnold, author and entrepreneur. He was going to talk about his new book on Christian genocide in Nigeria. He could not get on the internet today. Now, the really interesting thing is that we had to scrap Murray Sabrin yesterday for the same reason. I don't know if this is going on the East Coast or what's going on here. But yeah, so we've rescheduled Mike Arnold for next Thursday, April 30th. But thankfully, our second guest today is now our first guest, and that's our old friend Think, and he's talking to us from upstate New York, and there's his fantastic picture on the screen. Hi, Think. How you doing?
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going okay. It's going all right. So yeah, so you want to talk about AI, and I'll mention this. I'll just throw this out right away. There's an article in the New York Post just this morning about the fact that Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, finally said the quiet part out loud. He said, "Yeah, well, you know, we're talking about, it's going to eliminate a shitload of jobs." What I've been saying for like months. He finally admitted it.
Yeah, it's going to happen. 100%. It's going to eliminate a lot of jobs. But from what I'm seeing, Jim, it's going to be jobs also in the AI in the field. It's going to be dumber people, I think, compared to like people that worked in the computer field, because with AI, you don't really need to know DOS or that much coding. It's more like, a form of thinking. They call it prompts.
Think, can I stop you for a second? You're talking about dumber people. I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but I've railed about this on this program, that the fact of the matter is, when it comes right down to it, the majority of Americans have no real skills whatsoever. None. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I don't know. I want to agree, but then I have to go with what I visually see, and I'm going to disagree. I think that Americans are super smart. I think that the most smartest country in this whole planet is America. For some reason, people were thinking Japan is the smartest. And then nowadays, people say India, but that's not. You look at the technology that's currently in place right now. Where did it come from?
Yeah.
It all came out of this country.
Well,
the television.
You have a point there, and that is, I mean, we are by far the most imaginative nation on earth. And I've always assumed that's because we have the most freedom. So people's minds wander and they invent more shit. I mean, the problem with the Chinese, they're great at doing stuff, but they can't think of anything. They can't originate anything. They steal our stuff and then perfect it. That's what they do. So I don't, I suppose you could say it's different types of intelligences, huh?
Yeah, it's you could say it's different types of intelligence. Well, the thing that stops a lot of the technology here in America from becoming at the level of China, where they have a train going in through buildings now. Did you see that?
No.
Where they have a train that goes. Yeah, in China they have this train that goes in through these apartment complexes, and they have buildings so high in China that when you're on the top floor, you wouldn't even know the difference, because there's buses running up there.
Really?
On top of buildings.
Really?
Yeah, and then
holy shit.
Yeah, there's trees and cars up there. It's just you wouldn't know the difference because of the level of it. And even in Japan, they have all these robots and things walking around like well, I'm starting to see it here in America. When I was at the sushi restaurant, oh no, at the hospital, there's a robot that goes around like it's not a physical robot with arms and legs, but it's on wheels, but it's a robot traveling around and delivering things and stuff like that. But no matter how much innovation comes out of Japan, India, and China, how they use that technology, it still originated here from the United States.
Yeah, well,
the robot was invented here. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
We're going to have, I mean, I don't have to tell you, I mean, the Android robots, you know, you're talking about a robot on wheels, but the Android robot walking around, we're like a year away from that being commercial. I mean, it's already commercial, really. It's just they're expensive now, you know.
Now, if we talk about the next generation, that's something else, Jim. I fear for the generation currently here in America. And I think there's this, the whole woke movement could be added into this, where there's this generation here in America where they think that drug use is okay. And I personally believe that drugs destroy a child's mentality, not just a child, an adult's mentality to become technically innovative and to think properly with innovations in mind. I think drug use destroys a lot of that type of critical thinking. It almost makes them like a zombie, numb to anything. They're just absorbing more than they're producing.
So
there are rare instances. Go ahead, Jim.
I have to ask you, do you think that the legalization of drug use in the United States is some sort of like liberal plot to make people stupid so they're more pliant and they can be taken over?
That I 100% agree with that. I believe that that is one of the causes to keep population down and to keep the population in place here in America. If it wasn't for the drugs, I think the majority of people here in America would be super successful. I'm not saying that the majority of people in America are not super successful compared to other countries, but even more people would be would think smarter and think quicker and innovate more. But the drugs slow people down, and it almost keeps them in like a controlled state where they don't produce. They just sit back and absorb. It's almost like making these people just eaters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of cooks, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was looking at in Vietnam right now. I'm looking at all these people in Vietnam. There's no drug. There's no legalization of any drugs.
Oh,
if you're caught with marijuana.
What is the population of Vietnam? I don't really know.
It's high. I think it's somewhere. I can look it up, but I think the last time I checked, it was somewhere in the range of like 10 million, and that's a whole country though, somewhere in Vietnam. I'm just pulling out a number. I could look it up, but it's a huge number. Let me look it up.
I'm guessing it's probably about 100 million people is my guess.
Oh, is it that many? Oh, well, yeah. Wow, it's 100 million. I thought it was 10 million. Maybe it was Ho Chi Minh City that was.
Yeah, you're thinking of a city, right? Yeah, about 100 million people. Yeah. I mean, this is. Most people don't know this, but in January, India overtook China as the most populous country in the world, 1.6 billion people. A lot of people around.
I was told that I'm entering conspiracy territory now.
Well, hold it. Before you go on, I got to tell you a thing. If you told me 10 years ago that legalization of drugs was a liberal plot to make Americans stupid, I would have told you were crazy. And now I think that's true also. So anyway, yeah, we're all conspiracy theorists. Go ahead.
Yeah. I didn't think that when I was growing up either. Well, like all the marijuana that was like, when I was growing up, it was not legal.
Yeah.
But it was in the music, in the movies, like you had Cheech and Chong, you had all these movies that had drugs in it. And talking about, and I think it was manipulating the mindset of a lot of people that were watching that type of stuff, which was mainly the children young adults, teenagers, and even some adults, when they watch this, it kind of makes them think that it's okay to do this. And the fact that they legalize marijuana, and I'm not kidding, I think a lot of people think it's safe. That there's nothing wrong with doing marijuana because the government is legalizing
Right.
it. So there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But it's not true. This is a damaging drug. It was illegal for a reason. And then there's this concept or some belief that it's helpful. It's supposed to be helpful in like curing cancer and all kinds of diseases and stuff. And I think that's all bullshit, in my opinion. I don't think drugs really, especially marijuana, no. If anything, it hides the pain like Novocaine does. Like if
it's actually good for that. It's like the pain manipulation. You're right. That's the one thing that can actually do. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it just masks the pain like Novocaine. If you have a toothache and you put on Novocaine, you're not curing the problem. You're just masking it. Once that Novocaine wears off, the pain is still there, maybe even worse because you didn't take the time to take care of that tooth problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And that's basically it.
There's some people who suffer from chronic pain that they can't get rid of, and for those people, I think maybe marijuana is actually a good thing. But that's probably the only reason I can think of offhand.
Yeah. I had a huge debate with Google Gemini about this whole thing, and Google Gemini is controlled 100%. And it's for the drugs. And every time I say that I don't believe drugs are good, it'll say, I get where you're going with this, or I understand what you're trying to say. But a lot of studies have said that the drugs have been known to cure this disease, that disease, glaucoma. I don't know. I don't know anybody that is really been doing drugs where it cured, in terms of marijuana. And let's be honest, the majority of people that are doing marijuana are not on any type of pain or disease or anything. They're doing it recreational.
You're right. The vast majority aren't. I agree. I totally agree with you. I think statistics point that out. And so have you spent a lot of time on Google Gemini?
Yeah, for the past 4 or 5 months, I've been playing deeply with it. It was this one time where I took a picture of. So I installed this 220 volt for my car charger for my electric car, and I didn't know how to wire it. And I took a picture, and I was like, I'm going to test this. I'm going to take a picture of the outlet and upload it to Gemini, see if it can tell me how to wire it. And it did it. It looked at the picture, and I'm telling you, there's no numbers, there's no indication, and it knew exactly where it was. And it told me this needs to go here. And I was shocked. I was like, there's got to be something more to this. And so I've been playing with it. And I went to art school, so I figured, I'm going to do a project with this whole AI, and I've been making images and videos, and I like it. I like that.
I was gonna hold your video for the end, but I think let's play it now. I think people really want to see this. You sent this to me. I just think this is just incredible. It's 2.5 minutes. It's basically, I describe it as a trailer for a movie that doesn't exist. Or you can talk about what it actually is later, but we're gonna play this now. This is a video that Thing created entirely with AI, and it's in Vietnamese, but still, that's not the point. The point is the actual imagery. And so here, watch this, folks.
Rượu vang đầu tràn trên thảm lụa, và tiếng cười vang lên như những nhát cắt vào không gian. Giữa đám đông đang cuồng quay trong ánh đèn strobe, tôi đứng đây lạc lòng. Kẻ giàu sang kia đã mua được em, nhốt em vào bức tường đá cẩm thạch này, giữa mùi nước hoa đắt tiền và sự giả dối. Tôi phải lách qua những gương mặt lấp lánh kim cương để được nhìn thấy em một lần nữa. Ở đây, dưới ánh sáng mờ ảo của sông Panh, những vết dạn trên mặt em trông như những giọt nước mắt khô khốc. Tại sao em lại ở dưng kẻ coi nghệ thuật là món đồ chơi trang trí.
Này anh, sao cứ đứng nhìn bức tranh đó mãi thế? Lại đây uống một ly đi.
Tiếng mời gọi tan biến vào hư không. Tôi chạm tay lên khung gỗ mạ vàng, nóng hổi và xa lạ. Em không còn thuộc về bảo tàng lặng lẽ kia nữa. Em là tù nhân của một buổi tiệc không bao giờ kết thúc. Bức tranh trên tường.
That's just amazing. It's the fourth time I've seen it. I just think that's just unbelievable. It's like to think that none of that actually exists in the real world. I find that's just mind-boggling. Still there?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Like, I can't believe that I could do something like that with AI. I mean, I know that's not awesome and like super incredible, like cinema quality, like for a studio, but the fact that someone like me can do something like that, imagine how much I would have to have paid for those actors or to be in that area, the surroundings and all this.
Yeah,
I would have to have spent
you don't think that's studio quality? I certainly do. I mean, I can't. The only fault I could make, which is extremely minor, and when did you do this? Like about 6 months ago?
Probably about 2 or 3 months ago. I did that. I think.
Yeah. The only
like
possible complaint, it's really minor. It's because I look a lot of the stuff. The lighting's almost too perfect, but I know that in the last 3-4 months that they fixed even that. It's like, and the thing is also, if you were talking about a cinema experience, you want the lighting perfect. So in that sense, it's like that's not really a big deal. I mean, to me, I'll have to ask you, did you do it at 24 frames per second or 30?
I did this one at 24 frames per second.
That's what I thought.
The rendering is at
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's the prompt. Well, once you put in the prompt cinematic 4K or something like that, it automatically renders it at movie frames per second, which is 24K. As opposed to if I were to have said video, it would have did the 29.97 or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of scenes in there that I couldn't do. Like that last scene where the people are eating that slimy stuff. That is supposed to be like guts of like people. I wanted that scene to have like guts of actual people and fingers, and I wanted a child's head in there. So this is a commentary on art, where people are so rich that they don't look at art as anything other than just like a toy that they can play around. So they're smoking in front of this painting and they're having a huge party, drinking. Whereas in a museum, you would never do that to a valuable art piece. But these people are super rich and they don't care. And I wanted to make a commentary on almost like an Epstein thing, where they're having orgies and things, but Google wouldn't allow it. It kept censoring all the stuff that I wanted to do. Even this one scene where a man hugs a child, it wouldn't allow me to even have a man hug a child. It's a censorship thing, and it just, at first it did generate some images of a man hugging the child, but I think it got smart and started realizing that I was trying to do something along the lines of Epstein. where it's a pedophile thing.
But
and I think it caught on and it just stopped.
You obviously, I mean, I think you alluded to orgies. I mean, there's multiple people kissing multiple people. And so it's certainly hedonistic, if nothing else. You know, I mean, we didn't actually see.
Yeah. Some of those scenes had to be done offline. I had to learn how to do a lot of this offline. So there's you could generate online through your web browser on the internet with different platforms, but those platforms will block it to a certain point. Like there's some scenes where there are people walking that are like in skimpy clothing. None of the online platforms would do it, and I had to find out another way, which is offline, where you could download these language models and then render it on your computer. I can now do like whole sex scenes if I wanted to. There's no censorship offline, but the quality is not as great.
I have to stop you. That's amazing. Those people weren't naked. I mean, yeah, they were obviously wearing like lingerie and very skimpy clothing, but they weren't naked. It's like, they wouldn't even do that.
They wouldn't even, the censorship with Google is weird. And that's something new. I remember, I think I can remember 6 months ago when I was playing with it, where I was like, telling it to render like an Asian woman with big breasts in like a skimpy clothing, just to test it out, and it did it. But then for this one, it wouldn't. And I think the censorships are being added per month because this is still relatively new, I think. Yeah. And now they're adding in all kinds of like regulations blocking a lot of this stuff. But the whole kiss scene at the bottom, the last scene with the kissing, that barely, I mean, they wouldn't do it at first. I wanted like the old woman, like to see her face and she's licking the guy, but they couldn't. That's the closest I could get to it. I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead.
That's amazing. I just like, you know, and so you said that you actually ran some of this stuff locally off your local computer, that you didn't do it online?
That's correct.
If
you look carefully,
do you need a super powerful computer to do that?
You don't need a super powerful computer, which I'm going to get. I want it because I could get better quality. But I have a gaming computer, and with rendering video production and image production, and even the language model ones like ChatGPT and DeepSeek and Gemini, which you could run locally, by the way, you could download language models like that are uncensored. So you could download DeepSeek, which is similar to ChatGPT, and you could ask it all kinds of questions, and it won't censor it. And DeepSeek is a Chinese language model, and if you were to go to deepseek.com or wherever it is, and then you ask it, what's the problem with China? It won't reply, because it's censored.
Right.
But if you download the model and you run it locally, you could ask it on any kind of question, sexual questions, anything. Like I'm just making things up, but censorship-wise, that online would block. It won't block it. Well, so you can run it locally. Real quick about
how long? Okay, that's a 2.5 minute video. How long does it take you to render that then, or parts of it, like whatever, like a 20-second scene or something like that? How long does that take?
Oh my God, it's so quick online. I use Grok to render a lot of that. Maybe 65% of that was done on Grok, and it's under 1 minute. Under 1 minute for each video generation of to do each video. But when I do it offline, it can take 15, 20 minutes because my computer is not good.
Right.
Well, what you need for image generation is a computer with a lot of VRAM. My computer is a gaming computer, but the most VRAM, because I bought it like 4 years ago, and the VRAM on it is only 8 gigabytes that I have of VRAM. There's a math to it, but if I were to have one of the higher end, you would need a desktop and get like at least 24 RAM, 24 VRAM, 24 gigabytes, and then you could get better quality, and it could be the same thing as online, if not quicker, 30 seconds, 20 seconds.
And does it help to have a good GPU in your computer or not? Does that
From what I hear, no.
Huh.
Yeah, from what but I think it will. There's got to be a bottleneck somewhere where the GPU, the CPU, all that type of stuff needs to be equal with the VRAM.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need the highest end to as compared to the video card, which has the VRAM in it. I think that's more important than the CPU. Because I hear like a Resin 7 is good enough, or whatever that is.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. We that's funny. We render this show on a pretty good computer. It's not a gaming computer though. And we render it at 1080p at 30 frames per second, like you said, standard high def video. And to render a 1 hour show takes about 45 minutes. So it's like it's not it's not quick. So I'm actually surprised here. But then again, I mean, you're only dealing with scenes like 10 seconds at a time too. But still, the fact that you can generate like a 10-second scene or 20 seconds at a minute, I think pretty freaking amazing, considering what's going on there. Because it's making it up by scratch. I mean, unbelievable.
How are you rendering it in 4K? Is that why it's taking so long? That's a long time.
We render in 1080p. This is only a decent computer. I mean, it's okay. We're gonna need to upgrade this at some point. Yeah, it is. No, we do it 1080p, not 4K. So.
Oh, and it takes an hour? Wow, that's a long time. But are you rendering it like in Premiere or something like that? Is that how you do it?
Say again? What was that?
Or are you using a like a video editing software to render?
Yes, I am. Yeah, that's correct. I am using video editing software. So I don't know if that makes a difference or, I mean, not occasionally, regularly, we take two parts of the show and stick them together. So we render the whole thing. So, like I said, I mean, our shows are a little over an hour. Or they're about an hour. So like generally a one hour show takes 45 minutes to render. It's about 3/4 of the time. So, but what you're telling me is that if you render a single scene and the scene, like in that 2.5 minute video, I'm guessing the scenes are about 10 seconds, right? I'm guessing,
Yeah, it's actually 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, between 5 and 10 seconds is what it is. But to put it all in my video editing software to render it all at one time is for a 3-minute video, it's got to be like 1 minute. So it should be quicker, unless. Yeah.
But you're talking about the difference. I don't know if we're boring people or not. I don't care because I'm really fascinated by this. Yeah. You're talking about the difference between rendering the video and actually rendering the AI. I mean, it's like, because the first when you actually do the scene, the AI makes it up from scratch. And so, I mean, how long does that take? How long does 5 seconds, if you tell but like you said, you were on Grok and it's super fast, huh?
Yeah. And in college, so I do know 3D software, like 3D. This is all old stuff when I was in college in the 90s. So 3D Studio Max, Cinema 4D, Lightwave, and all that. And we would have to wait 24 hours.
Oh, yeah, I know.
For a 1 minute.
Believe me, I know.
Yeah. So to see all this type of stuff being done in a matter of 1 minute or under a minute, I'm blown out. I'm blown away.
I am too.
Oh, my God.
You're right. And you were probably right. I mean, I don't think the youngins understand. I mean, I edited a whole feature film using Pinnacle version 1. It was unbelievable. It took freaking forever. So I don't know if people appreciate it anymore. But I'm going to show you something. Yeah. You can't see this. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
No. I was just going to say real quick that sometimes, even though it's like a 24-hour render, sometimes it crashes, and then you have to re-render it because it crashed in the middle of the whole thing.
Yeah, I know all about that, man.
What would you?
So there's a guy, I pulled this out today and I sent this to you. There's a guy in India who made a fortune, millions of dollars, basically creating a mega hot chick and then rendering her AI services online. And I'm going to put a picture of her on the screen here. I'm going to replace your picture. So her name is Emily. That woman is not real. Now, the interesting thing here, like talking about your video, the lighting isn't perfect. So, I mean, this looks completely, to me, completely real. And I wasn't, when I was talking about your video, I was really just talking about the finest of fine points about the fact that the lighting was almost too cinematic. But on the other hand, if you're doing a movie, that's what you want. So it's not really a complaint. But until recently, I don't think, and you tell me if you disagree, but until recently, it seems like that's the only way you could do the lighting. Now you can do more, what I would consider more natural lighting. So I have a picture, you can't see it, you're on the phone, of Emily. She's in a red, white, and blue American flag bikini. And it's basically regular room lighting. I mean, it looks like like she's in her bedroom, and it looks like you'd be in somebody's bedroom. And so this guy apparently made millions of dollars. I didn't know this. He posted this, and maybe you're familiar with this. He posted this on FanView, because OnlyFans will not allow AI generated content, but FanView does. And so he wasn't breaking the rules, and he generated videos of this girl and stuff like that. She's not real. Nobody knew that, and he, it was selling subscriptions, and my God in heaven, it's like, and none of this is real at all. And you can't see this picture, but this woman looks as real can be. But everyone in your video did too. I was just astonished at how, especially the close up of the kiss at the end. I mean, Jesus Christ. So you had to do that offline because they want to do that, huh?
That scene right there, luckily, after like I think it was like 10 or 20 takes, I finally could get something. I'm surprised that they pumped that out, but I got it. That's the thing with video generating online. You're going to get a whole bunch of bad ones, and you just got to pick one out of the good takes.
Well, that's
but I can see that picture that you did post, and it does look real. It's the lighting of it that looks real.
Yeah, right. That's right.
But look, I want to comment on this real quick. So in my searches for video AI, because I can't make money off of it, I was just wondering if there's a way to do something for money. And there's a lot of people making fake characters for OnlyFans. So they'll make a character like this girl right here, and it's all fake, and they'll make an OnlyFans page with this character. And from what I know about OnlyFans, you pay for it, and then you get content in there, like that person stripping off their clothes or something like that, and it's really an AI character. It's not even a real character.
Well, so according to this
way to do it.
According to this article, that's against OnlyFans rules, but this FanView place does allow it. It's actually allowed. So he didn't go to OnlyFans. He did FanView, apparently. I don't really know much about this, but I mean, apparently he made like over $1.5 million in like a few weeks. So there were more pictures of Emily wearing her mega hat and out shooting and stuff. It's just like, it was all like stereotypical mega crap. It's like, I didn't believe it. People bought it hook, line, and sinker because, well, she's hot, but she's not real. So I don't know.
That's she's very pretty. Very.
Yes, she is. Oh, and some of the women in your video were pretty hot too. It's like, Jesus Christ,
Oh,
That was, I thought, go ahead. Please go ahead.
I didn't intend for any of them to be high. I was just trying to make them like look rich. But
yeah, right.
This girl right here is definitely it. I like the natural lighting that everything looks like it's so realistic looking. Like
right, it is. Yeah. Doing it. Yeah, but that's, really seriously, that's the state of the art in only 3 or 4 months. I mean, I think if you did your video now, the lighting would be a little different. It's not greatly so. Matter of fact, most people probably wouldn't even notice. But I think it would be subtly different, I think, if you did it now, because the AI is getting better at it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's constantly being updated so quickly right now. I'm so shocked at how fast it is.
Yeah.
And that other article you said about losing jobs, it's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah, it
A lot
is.
of jobs are gonna be lost to AI.
Well, and you're a
Yeah.
coder, and I'm a
But
coder. That article said, and it's really true. Claude Code, apparently, from what I've heard, I've never used it, but apparently it can write what a whole team of coders can do in like 6 months, can do in like 4 hours. And not only that, now the code is almost perfect. In the past, there were errors in it, but now you can pretty much you run it, it'll run. It's like, and so if you're a coder, what the hell? It's like you've been replaced, haven't you?
yeah, pretty much, if you're yeah, if you're doing something at a mom and pop's level, you if you're a business doing not high end coding, and I think you lost a job.
Yeah,
But for high end on a high end level, I think it's still like that detailedness is still going to be needed. The computer is not there yet where it can write coding super awesome, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
yeah,
So in upstate New York, we had Kodak up here. I mean, Kodak was the big deal.
right.
A lot of I think it employed somewhere around like 70% of the people here, or 60 some. It was like the big company.
Uh-huh.
But when the digital camera came, almost all the factories are gone, and Kodak actually went bankrupt for a while. And they're saying that it's gonna come back, or it's still in business by making actual film again. There's some film companies that actually want to use film and like in terms of movies and photography, but I doubt it. I think Kodak's going to go out of business. But even though Kodak went out of business, I mean, Rochester area where Kodak is stationed didn't die. A lot of people saying that Rochester actually became better
Yeah.
because Kodak was bottlenecking was taking all the smart people and making them work for Kodak.
Uh-huh.
But when Kodak left, all the smart people spread it out and built their own thing. And a lot of people saying that Kodak is much, much better now.
Well, also, you have
And
to.
I think
Don't you have to? You gotta address the fact that I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the world. You have to address the fact that Kodak, and I don't know if you know this, they actually invented the digital camera. They invented it in the 1970s. But the thing is, they never marketed it, because they were afraid of cannibalizing their own business. So somebody else marketed it and screwed them. And you think, I just like, you look at the history of all these huge firms. They're all around for about 100 years, like Sears. Sears should have become Amazon, but they didn't. They didn't think anything of this online thing was going to happen. And I mean, the last I heard, there's literally only four Sears stores left in the entire United States. For all practical purposes, that company doesn't exist, and it was the biggest company in America for like 100 years. It's unbelievable. And same thing with Kodak. Kodak wouldn't sell their digital camera because they were making so much money selling film, and then somebody else turned around and sold the digital camera and pummeled them. And now they're out of business. I don't know. It's just really weird how this shit happens.
from what I was told, Kodak started hiring all these people. Well, they didn't hire. I guess with Kodak, when you're at that level, if you buy a lot of shares, you also automatically become the CEO. Is that how it works?
Usually.
And I think a whole bunch of companies started. Yeah, I think a whole bunch of companies just bought up the stock of Kodak and then just sold their technology or just gave it away. They sold it, and the individuals, the CEOs, made all the money and destroyed the company. So all these people from outside of Rochester, New York, bought up the company, basically became the CEOs and destroyed it by selling all the latest technologies that it was producing, and it literally destroyed Kodak. So they took it down.
Yeah.
If I'm making sense.
You are.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's what I was told. I could be wrong. That it was people outside the area took over the company and just destroyed it.
That
and
wouldn't surprise me at all.
But we have a new.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a new bunch of industries now because the digital camera is now, readily available. Kodak was just holding it hostage. The technology.
That's right. That's
holding it hostage.
That's exactly what they were doing. They were holding. You're right. They were holding it hostage. Yeah, but it killed. The irony is, it turned around and bit them in the ass. They killed it. Not the technology themselves. I mean. Yeah. Just strange how crap like this works.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they basically just destroyed themselves. I think that's the problem with that type of mentality back then. Like that, I don't know if you know anything about upstate New York, but it's
a little bit. I know a little bit.
Kind of controlled. Yeah, it's kind of controlled by like the mafia people.
Yeah.
From the New York City.
Yeah, it is. That's right.
They have a huge grip. Yeah, they have a huge grip and everything. So I think they got together and said, we cannot do this type of stuff. We're making so much money doing this way.
Right.
And so they didn't want to think innovative.
Right.
They thought it was like childish to think that way. And so
yeah.
But how about this, Jim? Do you believe in evolution? But going back to the AI taking people's jobs. Do you think it's just going to take people's jobs and the computer are going to run everything? Or do you think people are going to adapt to it and start using AI? Like, I think AI is a tool that people are going to start learning how to use AI as a tool.
I think it depends on what your time frame is. I mean, I've been saying, and I'm still sticking to this, that in the relative short term, but when I say relative short term, I'm talking about 10 to 20 years, I think it's going to be devastating for the economy. I think there's going to be like where I just talked. Who was I talking to on the show a couple of days ago? That was, I think, Bruce DeTorres, about the fact that during the Great Depression, the unemployment rate in the United States was 25%. I think this will, for a time being, I think it'll be worse. I think that eventually, you're right, we will adjust and it will become a tool. But in the short term, I think it's going to lead to catastrophe. That's what I think. I don't know. We'll see. I've been wrong before.
I'm pretty sure you're right about this, but at the same time, playing with AI all these months, it still doesn't have that innovation or ingenuity. And Gemini, when I was talking with it, it even said that it doesn't have the intuition that I have. Here's a prime example, Jim. So about a month ago, I was driving to work and I was like, I have an EV, but I still maintain looking at gas prices. And I'm looking at gas prices and I asked Gemini, are we going to war? Is that why the gas prices are going up? And Gemini says to me, no, it has nothing to do with the war. It's just at this time of the season, usually gas prices go up. But then I asked it, but wasn't it like $2.75 just a couple weeks ago? For it to be $4 now, isn't that suspicious? And then Gemini was like, no, it's just normal. A week later, when the gas prices goes up to $4.17 or $4.25, I asked Gemini again, are you sure? And then Gemini said, it's because of the war. And then I argued. I was like, so why are you telling me now it's because of the war? And we were going back and forth. And eventually Gemini said, I don't have the human intuition that you did. That's why I could not put the pieces together, or however it said it. I could not predict that it was because of the war. I could only go off the statistics and the information I'm given at the time. So I saw it in advance that it was because of the war with Iraq.
Yeah.
Or Iran, right? That the gas prices were going up, and that's the reason.
But as an example,
Gemini couldn't.
That's a perfect example of, you're right, the lack of intuition, because that's the one thing you're not the only person who notices. This is the one thing that machines can't do. They don't have any intuitive or implication or inference sense or anything like that. They can't do that shit. All they can do is try to go through the facts they have, and then it's like I talk to Alexa on my desk all the time, and Alexa tries to tell jokes, And she says, I know I'm not very good at this. Yeah, honey, you aren't. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Hey, I gotta go. So I really appreciate this.
Okay.
I'm gonna for the second part for the footnotes tonight, if you don't mind, I'm gonna play your video again. I think it's really important that people see this. I just think it's really, really incredible. Have you thought of actually doing an entire feature film? I mean, it'd be an enormous amount of work, but it's obvious you could do it.
You know, Jim, one of these days, I think you're trying to work on a film as well. I would love to like work with you on one of these things together. Like we come up with something. I don't know, just an idea.
We'll talk about that.
I have, yeah, let's talk about that. Because I often hear you say that you're working with people that are producing films and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
I
maybe
am.
one of these days we get together.
Yeah, we will talk about that thing. I think that's a pretty good idea. So yeah, we'll do that offline, of course.
Yeah.
But for now, I gotta go. So I really appreciate it. So
all right, it's nice talking to you.
Always a pleasure.
Nice talking with you, Jim, as always.
It always is. Thank you. Really appreciate it a lot. Thanks. Our thanks to Think there. That video was incredible, wasn't it? Now I'm gonna play it at the end here when we're done before we close the show out again. Because you should watch this. It's hard to believe that none of that is real. None of it. And it looks completely real. It's only 2.5 minutes, but you know that, I mean, we're a year away from the fact we're gonna see 2-hour movies done like this. There's no doubt about it. Excuse me. Had to clear my throat there. Hit the panic button. All right. It's Footnotes for Wednesday night, April 22nd. I got to mention this because this is like, this basically dovetails into everything I've been talking about for like 6 years. So the Department of Justice today, the Department of Justice today filed a suit against the Southern Poverty Law Center for basically paying people to gin up extremism, political extremism, so that they could counter it. Because I've been saying this for years. There is no white supremacy. I mean, you know, obviously there's some. We are 340 million people in this country, so there's some lunatic somewhere doing something. But for all practical purposes, there is not on any particular scale. There's none. Now, I'm going to use a statistical example, and I can't remember if this is for 2024 or 2025. I think it's 2024, the last year that data is available thus far. Bill O'Reilly, on his No Spin News, had his staff check to see for the calendar year. This was both federal, state, and local. How many people had been arrested for white supremacy hate crimes in the United States? And the answer, I think for 2024, the whole year, both federal, state, and local, was 106 people. There is no white supremacy. The Democrats have completely made this up, just like they made up racism. For all practical purposes, there is no longer any racism. Yes, there's some racism. Yes, that guy down the street from you is a racist asshole. Yes, he is. But is there any consequential racism? Is anyone denied a job or an apartment because they're black? No, they aren't. Whoopi Goldberg said this on The View, not just me. She said the same thing. There's no consequential racism. No one's lives suffer because they're black anymore. There's a lot of other reasons, but not because they're black. And so they made this up too. They're making all this stuff up because, and I've said this years ago, but I'm surprised it happened this quickly. That's the part I had wrong. That sooner or later, as society perfects itself, the liberal point of view in the United States was always to solve problems, to find and fix problems. They're not very good at fixing them, but they're really good at pointing them out. And I say that with no sarcasm whatsoever. They really are. That's the primary thing the Democrats and liberals have done in our country over the last 100 years or so. They're good at pointing out problems, and usually the Republicans, the conservatives, fix them. Usually, as society perfects itself, there's less and less problems to solve, and therefore they become more irrelevant. This is a classic case of somebody putting themselves out of a job. In 2001, just before he left office, actually 2000, in December 2000, Bill Clinton invited Yakshir, oh God, he was the prime minister of Israel, and Yasser Arafat, head of the Palestinians, to the White House to try to figure out this two-state solution once and for all. And God, what is his name? I forgot. Rabin, right? And Clinton offered Arafat pretty much everything he wanted, the whole thing. Just like they saved a tiny little bit just to save face, for no other reason. Basically, they gave Arafat everything they wanted, and he turned it down. And years later, Clinton said he finally figured out the reason was as he realized that if Yasser Arafat solved this problem, that he personally would be out of business. He would have nothing to do. He would have no influence in his country. And so problems continue. This goes on all over the place. The homeless problem in California has not been solved because if they solve it, the gravy train for all these organizations to get money to solve it stops. So they're not going to solve it. There's no incentive to do so. Matter of fact, there's an incentive for the opposite. And so the Democrats have the same problem here. They are creating problems or continuing older problems because if they solve them, they will be out of business. And that's exactly what's going on here. The Southern Poverty Law Center is being charged with fraud because they're paying people to act out extremism so that they can counter it. Otherwise, they have no counter, and they have nothing to do. And the particular example here that I need to bring out is that they paid some guy $270,000 to lead the Unite to Right protests in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017, where that woman got killed. And there was basically it was the start of Trump's downfall because he, said on tape about there's very fine people on both sides, which he actually didn't say. That's the thing. It's like that tape has always been, it was edited so that it made him look like he said the opposite of what he actually said. But the fact of the matter is that whole thing started, they paid people in that organization to actually gin up violence so that they had something to fight back against. It's unbelievable. This doesn't surprise me either. I mean, we're still seeing the same thing now here in Minneapolis. This thing with the ICE protests. Okay, so they're protesting the fact that ICE is killing people in the street, right? They're protesting. They're screwing with ICE so much that ICE can't afford to make a mistake, and of course they do because they're human, right? So the woman they killed, Rachel Good, who was with her car, that was completely understandable. I mean, that's the problem. This woman, I don't think she meant to do it because I've seen these tapes. I mean, these all happen in less than like a quarter of a second. But the fact of the matter is she pointed her car and gunned it at a guy, and God knows she got shot, So, the thing with the Peretti guy is a little more nebulous because there's video maybe to indicate that they took his gun away before they shot him. So some people might get in trouble there. But the real point is these protesters were relentlessly goading ICE, and then ICE makes a mistake. And then they say, well, look at all the crap that ICE caused. No, they caused the crap. This same thing happened in 2020. They were blaming, look at all the chaos that Trump is causing. They caused the chaos and then blame Trump. And the amazing thing is in 2020, I was bitching about this, but basically nobody saw it. Now people are getting wise. People are finally starting to figure this out. You know, it's it's the same bullshit playbook. They got nothing else. That's the problem. Like I said, they are running out of things to do, and so because of that, they're running out of relevance. It's like, I don't know, your mileage may vary, I suppose. Okay, Voyager 1 is a spacecraft that was launched, I think, in 1972 and 74. I didn't look this up. They launched both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 like 3 months behind each other, and they scoured the solar system and then moved out into space. It's been 52 years, 54 years. Voyager 1 is still sending data back to Earth. It's still running. It's way out in the interstellar space. It's just coasting right now. Well, the reason I have to make the news is that NASA, or the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, I think specifically, they have had to shut down 2 more instruments on Voyager 1 to conserve the power. So this spacecraft was not meant to survive this long. It wasn't. It's testament to the people who built this. It's really amazing. And it runs off a nuclear power source. They don't have to worry about, and then you're wondering, well, how come my car doesn't run off a nuclear power source? That's because you would get radiation poisoning, but there's nobody up there riding that thing, so they don't have to worry about that. So there's a tiny little nuclear reactor on that thing, and literally it's about the size, I think, of a large thermos, I think, or a cat carrier or something. It's kind of that big, or a very small microwave oven, and it powers that spacecraft, and it has for 50 years. Well, at some point, it's going to run out of power, and it's supposed to. But they designed the spacecraft. I mean, they really thought this out. This is really incredible. So that they could shut off certain instruments in certain orders to save power. There's only 2 instruments running on Voyager 1 now left. At one point, it will be 0. But the fact that it's still sending data back is just incredible. The last I heard, which was a few months ago, the trip for the data at the speed of light was about 24 hours one way. In other words, if they wanted to send a command to the spacecraft, it would take about 24 hours for it to get there. And on the way back, it's sending data back too. If I'm also right, that spacecraft has a camera on it, but they shut it off to save power. Besides, they're out in the middle interstellar space anyway. There's nothing to see anymore. It sent back fabulous pictures of like Jupiter and stuff. Anyway, I just think that's pretty cool. 52 years later, the damn thing's still running. And no, you don't have a nuclear powered car. You don't. Oh man. So finally, tonight, I got to address this because we've been talking about this, about these scientists that have gone missing. There's 11 people so far. Now they've extended this back to 2022. And also I've mentioned too, that I do not think one of the people belongs on this list, because we knew the scientist from Princeton, if I'm right. We know who shot him. He knew the guy. It was basically a personal dispute. So I don't think he belongs there. But if you're talking about the other 10, now they're saying that a guy, Matthew Sullivan, at 39, died on May 12th, 2024. They said he committed suicide, but just a few days before he was supposed to testify before Congress on UAP stuff. Yeah, all these people, they commit suicide apparently, So who is the guy who supposedly just killed himself? He said over and over again, and publicly, he said if I commit suicide, I didn't do it. He said, I'm just telling you right now, I'm not going to kill myself. Phil Schneider said that too. The guy who was talking about who said that he had his fingers blown off in a fight with extraterrestrials underneath the ground in Dulce, New Mexico. Yeah, he also died by suicide. He told people, if I kill myself, I didn't do it. Not to mention the fact that, and this is really weird because there's photos of this, that supposedly he died from autoerotic asphyxiation, but there's knots in his in the ropes he used that you can't tie on yourself. So yeah, make of that what you will. So Matthew Sullivan, he died by suicide, supposedly. I'm reading about the fact, now I didn't know this. The biggest donors to Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign were defense contractors. Excuse me. The very biggest one was SpaceX. So I don't know if you want to count that as a defense contractor, although he definitely is, Elon Musk. And then Robert Bigelow, who used to run the former National Institute for Discovery Science, which he started. He was the second biggest person, and it was also the single biggest individual too. And then there's a whole bunch of other defense contractors who actually spread their money around generally, but still, it's defense contractors. And I'm reading in the disclosure files on Substack, and I'm stupid. I didn't put this together about the fact that if the supposed technology that's been worked on from these crash extraterrestrial spacecraft is not patented, because they can't patent it because it becomes public at that point. Even though there's military has secret patent, the U.S. military can secretly patent stuff. But the thing is, none of this technology is owned by the government anymore. We actually siphon it off to supposedly for-profit corporations to work on it and get the data back. And the reason we did that is because they aren't subject, that being those for-profit corporations, are not subject to the Freedom of Information Act. In other words, the government can clearly say, we don't have this information, and they don't, because they gave it to somebody else. Or we don't have this material. They do have the information. That's the idea. The idea is that the government gives this crashed debris to these corporations. They reverse engineer it. What the government wants is data on how it was used, and also if you build anything from it, we get to use it for free. But they actually end up owning the technology. The problem is they can't patent it. So if this stuff becomes publicly known, basically they lose the rights, the proprietary rights to this material. And we're probably talking about billions of dollars of stuff. And so if you're looking for a excuse or rationale to kill somebody, man, I don't know. There you go. That's as good as anything. There's too much going on. I'm not the only person who said this. This is not an original thought. There's too much going on here with these 10 people that have been that are missing, especially the ones that are missing. 4 or 5 of them were all lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and worked at the Los Alamos lab. And one woman, her family says, well, I can't think, is there Casio or is her last name? I think it is. They said, well, she's literally just an office worker. She literally just orders office supplies. No. That's what she told her family. As a matter of fact, it's true. This woman had no security clearance, but she worked for somebody who did. She was an executive assistant for someone who did. And of course, you're typing up all that stuff. And guess what? Because you're typing it up, you know it all. There's no way getting around that. You've got secrets in your head, So I don't buy, her family's trying to say she knew nothing about any of this stuff. That's bullshit. Especially if she's an executive assistant for somebody. She knew a whole lot. And then ironically, she has no security clearance. She doesn't, but she knows it anyway. So anyway, this moves on. Tomorrow, our guest for tomorrow's show, Thursday's show, the last show this week, is Tom Vernon. He's the co-host of the UAP Files podcast that's everywhere, mostly YouTube. We originally, and this is on our website, we had his other co-host, Jimmy Connors, booked, but Jimmy couldn't do it at the last minute. So Tom's coming in his place, just as good. We have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We have a full show next week. Full shows except Monday. I'm not going to announce who the guest is because we haven't confirmed it. but we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday full. So, so we got it going on, as the boomers say, and God knows I am one. And my wife hates it when I say that. I want to thank you folks for watching. I want to thank again for coming on. Maybe that was a little too in the weeds for you. I don't know, but I'm kind of in the weeds. What can I tell you? And so we're going to play his video now before we leave again, because you should watch this. I've seen this like 4 or 5 times. It's incredible. I find it mind-boggling that none of that is real. None of it. None of it. The sets, the lighting, the people, it's all generated by computer. All of it. Now, I know this has become commonplace, but there's some cinematic art to what he's doing here, and I just find it amazing. So, good night, Uncle Donnie, wherever you are, and good night to you, wherever you may be. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you on Monday. Take care.
Rượu vang đầu tràn trên thảm lụa, và tiếng cười vang lên như những nhát cắt vào không gian. Giữa đám đông đang cuồng quay trong ánh đèn strobe, tôi đứng đây lạc lòng. Kẻ giàu sang kia đã mua được em, nhốt em vào bức tường đá cẩm thạch này, giữa mùi nước hoa đất tiền và sự giả dối. Tôi phải lách qua những gương mặt lấp lánh kim cương để được nhìn thấy em một lần nữa. Ở đây, dưới ánh sáng mờ ảo của sông banh, những vết dạn trên mặt em trông như những giọt nước mắt khô khốc. Tại sao em lại ở đây, giữa những kẻ coi nghệ thuật là món đồ chơi trang trí?
Này anh, sao cứ đứng nhìn bức tranh đó mãi thế? Lại đây uống một ly đi.
Tiếng mời gọi tan biến vào hư không. Tôi chạm tay lên khung gỗ mạ vàng, nóng hổi và xa lạ. Em không còn thuộc về bảo tàng lặng lẽ kia nữa.